What's up, everybody? Well, we're looking here at a Japanese maple. As spring's coming and the growing season comes, all the perennials, or annuals rather, or whatever, begin to get their leaves and start to grow again. All the trees start to come out, get their leaves and forming their little buds. Meanwhile, there's a lot of indoor growers that have been growing all winter long. So it's like the gardening never stops. A lot of people, I used to look forward to the spring where I could go out and plant my veggies and start tending my garden, and I still do, but it's like I've been tending gardens constantly, all year long. But yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're members on this OMMP group, which is a medical patient cannabis group for the state of Oregon and Washington, and it's kind of an exchange group where we can exchange whether it be cannabis or clones or whatnot with other medical patients. And I left a comment on there. The comment said something to the effect of, I've heard a few people saying that they've had a hard time finding extracts lately. And I went on to say that I know that they're in plentiful supply. However, it leads me to wonder if the growers are sick of getting cheated out at people trying to buy hash for $15 a gram and cannabis for less than $100 an ounce. And the statement I made was that we have to remember that if you don't grow cannabis, you don't understand this, but there are mass production strains that will yield huge amounts in a small area, and there are smaller production amounts that may yield half or a quarter of that. And there are also smaller time growers that tend to these plants. Now, if the market forces them out, they'll be forced to take on bigger buds and different strains, which will, in my opinion, homogenize the cannabis to the extent that people will be growing not for the quality but for the quantity. Now, there's a fine line there because cannabis can easily reach well below $100 an ounce and still be feasible for a lot of growers, especially the commercial growers. But if you considered a small yielding plant that only puts out a couple ounces, and the time it takes to grow those plants, the space it takes to grow those plants, the lighting, the work, the effort, the fertilizer, and then on top of that, all the manicuring, drying, all the space it takes. People just don't understand that. And offering less than $100 per ounce is almost offensive to a grower, even as a medical patient, unless, of course, you have a card and they're working with you and your plants. That's a different story. So anyway, this one guy left a comment on there that was very spiteful and hateful, and basically said that all the growers are greedy and they're all trying to take advantage of sick people. And he really got attacked. This thread ended up having over 200 comments, and it's still going. And everybody talked this guy into the ground. And then somebody found out who he was and said, "Look, this guy Jeremy has a sentencing. He got arrested for driving while under the influence of cannabis." And so everybody was saying, since the guy's such a jerk, we should be at his hearing to laugh when he gets sentenced. And I said, hey, I don't care how much I don't like a person. I'm not going to wish them ill because of something that I think should not be punished, such as the cannabis. Here we are in a cannabis forum and people are saying they want to see him be punished for cannabis just because the guy's a jerk. And I was able to walk away from it and just say, oh well, the guy's a jerk. I'm sorry if you had a hard life. In fact, in one of the comments he even mentioned something about how if you grew up and you saw your dad beat up your mom with a 2x4 and then you'd feel the same way, yada yada. Basically, the guy's a damaged person, okay? This is the point I'm making. And I accepted that. And I didn't go run him into the ground. I said, dude, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry if your life has issues, but, this isn't the way to go about it. And the other people just couldn't let it go. And they started poking fun at him and laughing. And one of my buddies I talked on the phone yesterday, he said, wow, that thread got a lot of views, or a lot of comments. And he's like, that guy's an asshole. He deserves what he gets. And I said, He's just a messed up dude. I said, I meet like people like that all the time on YouTube. And he goes, you do? I was like, are you kidding me? That guy is nothing compared to some of the people I've met on YouTube. At least that guy went back and actually responded with a comment to a couple of people that said, hey, well, I was just trying to say this, or I was just trying to say this. Some of the people I've met on YouTube, they don't even try. They just want to run everybody into the ground and treat everybody like shit. And when I talked to my buddy about that, I realized that most people aren't exposed to that. If you're on YouTube, you might see those comments. But unless you're actually immersed in it and you have your own channel, such as like I do, if I cover a certain subject, I might get people that just tear me into the ground. I mean, every day I get at least one or two super negative comments that are just like, the world is a horrible place and people are screwed and everybody deserves what they get and yada, yada, yada. And I guess I've just learned to laugh it off. I don't really laugh it off so much because I feel sorry for the people. But, for example, one guy who had left a comment the other day saying that the world is a cesspool and it's a messed up place and everything's horrible. And I said, I used to see it from that point of view too, until I really started looking around and realized that most of this is our immediate environment affecting our perceptions of the world around us. Not that the world's a horrible place, but when my environment is comfortable, my world is comfortable, and I start to see the good, not the negative. You can think the world is full of murderers and thieves, but honestly, of all the people I know, I maybe know one or two of each, if that. I'm sure I don't really know any murderers that I'm aware of, but I do know a couple thieves, or I have in the past, and just choose to avoid them. But society shames those people is the point. Murderers and thieves are shamed by society. And so, society is not a horrible place. But anyway, people have a negative view on things, and they push that on others, and they try to make everybody else feel like they do. And I'm glad I've learned to deal with that. I'm just surprised, I guess, in the internet world that everybody hasn't learned to deal with that yet. So, take care, everybody. Have a good day, and peace and love.